there's a number of videos out there about how difficult it is to start a trading card store, which makes sense because it is very difficult. I cannot make one of those videos because I have not started a trading card store. But what I can make is a video about how easy it is to be a backpack seller. Because let me tell you, it is very easy. And I guess as I go over the details, it might seem like there's a lot going on. But at the end of the day, if you have a printer, if you have cards, if you have the internet, you can kind of figure out the rest. Yeah, you need some envelopes, you need some top loaders to put the cards in, stuff like that. But it is so simple to get started selling trading cards, and I recommend it. I think everybody that plays Magic should have a TCG Player account where they sell singles on. The reason being is that you have cards you don't play with anymore, and they could be money. And you know what you can do with money? Buy more cards, or other things too, like buy a new car, or down payment on a house, or goofy things. So I'm a big fan of being a backpack seller, of not having not having a lease, and not having a local game store that supports your community and blah blah blah. Just kidding. Obviously, no shade to people. I mean, the people who do open game stores and talk about their journey on the internet are my favorite content creators by far, and I'm very grateful to them. But it's just interesting, I think, this contrast here, and so let's go. We're going to talk about the supplies you need, the time commitment it takes, the inventory, and selling. And what is that like for a backpack seller? Backpack seller, by the way, is a endearing term for those who sell out of their backpack or out of their basement. You don't have a lease, you don't have a building, you're not a trading card store. You are just a person that sells probably mostly online, but you could sell locally or whatever. But you're a backpack seller. And so let's talk about the supplies you need. The supplies you need, small stuff. Let me share in the descriptions of my videos, I have a bunch of Amazon links, which, by the way, if you click on these and buy anything, like if you're like, oh, I'm going to buy a new trampoline on Amazon, if you click on one of these links and then you go buy a trampoline, I get that supports my channel. So, you don't have to buy these exact things from me. Fun fact. But lots of cool things here, like card sorter trays, which this is obviously very, what's the word? Optional. You don't have to have a card sorting tray. You could just use a desk, but some of these things are less optional. Things like envelopes or team bags, or these envelopes are so great because when you get the shipping page from TCG Player, the what is it called, the packing slip, you can fold it up and then their address shows up inside of this window, and then you seal it. You have a stamp with your address on it, get your address on, and then you put on a shipping stamp on the other corner, and then boom, you're good to go. Really cool stuff. But this is what you need. I mean, a lot of the basics, like I said, some of these things are optional, some of these things are less optional. Getting a printer that works great is an incredible investment. You can see I bought this November of 2025, and this is awesome. This printer has treated me very well. There's other printers, you do not have to get this one, but it's essentially like you have a printer, you need the basic supplies, the paper, the envelopes, the team bags, the top loaders, penny sleeve, because for the 18th time, the right way to pack a card is you have a nice card like this Pluto Delta that somebody bought from me. You put that card inside of a penny sleeve, then you put that penny sleeve inside of a top loader, and then you put that top loader inside of a team bag, and then you seal that team bag. And at that point, it's okay if you use duct tape, because the card is like 5 layers removed from whatever tape you use. Don't use duct tape. But if you use painter's tape or scotch tape or whatever to attach it to the packing slip and then fold that up, you're good to go. So anyways, what was I saying? Right. So to be a backpack seller, you just you don't need that much stuff. You need like at most a couple $100, and that's if you don't own a printer at all. And for printers, you don't have to get the nicest one, but what I will say is don't get a printer that uses cartridges. Get a printer that uses like ink, like generic, like any kind of black ink or whatever. If you get a cartridge printer, I swear I probably spent like, I don't know, like $1,000, like not even kidding, like $1,000 between 2024 and 2025 that I didn't have to because I was spending money on cartridges. Don't do that. Don't be like me. But if you know, get whatever printer, you've got the supplies, you can start shipping out. Now you contrast that with a local game store. Like, what do they have to do to get started? Everything, right? They've got to paint. They've got to get I mean, it's fascinating. I love listening to the videos. Like Dex and Dice did one where he's talking about, I think, what it took for him to build out his game store. I know that like Mason with Cardinal Gaming has talked about this before. He came out with a video recently talking about what it took to build up their game store from like this dinky small place to kind of the empire it is now, or whatever. But it takes so much to open a game store. You got to get the wall racks to hold your inventory, your supplies. You need the glass display cases to hold singles. You need chairs and tables. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. We're talking like tens of thousands of dollars to get started at your local game, you know, to start your local game store in general. I know that there's ways and places to do it cheaper. There's this cool couple in Oregon. I think they're in Oregon, but they're on TikTok. I can't remember their shop name, but their first location was like very small. They leased this like tiny hole in the wall kind of place. And, they've expanded since then, but you know, so you can start small, but in general, it's going to cost even for them, they probably spent like at least 10 grand getting their place figured out, maybe less. I don't know. But anyway, so the supplies you need, backpack sellers, you've got it made. It's just so easy to sell out of your basement. It really is. All right. What about time commitment? Well, for me, as a side hustle magic seller, because there are people that do this full time. There are basement people that do this full time. They don't have a local game store, but they pack and sell and ship and organize and buy collections all day, every day. And that is their job. That's not me. I do this part time. And the time commitment for me can be as little as like an hour a day. And it doesn't even have to be like every day. Like some days it can be 0. And then the next day it'll be like 2 hours, right? You have to make up for the previous day. But, I mean, it can be so low. And the thing is about being a backpack seller is that you can use price as a way to control how quickly your inventory sells. So if, you know, you have a week that you know you're going to be very busy, you just raise your prices and you say like, sweet, leave me alone, internet. My prices are, you know, 15% above market. Then if something sells, you don't feel too bad about it because you're like, wow, I'm making like extra money. And if it doesn't sell, you don't feel too bad about it because you're able to just use your time other places. Contrast that with somebody who owns a local game store. You don't get that, right? You've got your open hours and you got to be there whether there's people buying from you or not. And then you got your closed hours where you got to prepare for the open hours. You've got, you know, the inventory that comes in, you got to restock and supply, and you got to work with distribution and make sure you got the right products coming in at the right times. And, you know, all this other stuff. I don't know all the ins and outs of running a local game store. Like I've made it very clear, but there's a lot going on there. But what's so cool about selling cards just out of your home is how little time it can take. Especially like if you have one commander deck that you're just like, like I'm over it. I'm going to sell these cards. I know they're valuable and this is the way I can get the most bang for my buck. Because as an aside, real quick, the reason why you should sell on TCG Player is just to keep more of the money that you've invested into your collection, right? Because you could sell to like your local game store, but they're probably going to give you 50-60% of the value of the deck. Or when you sell on TCG Player, you're able to get like 85%. So it's just about, you know, it's a trade-off, right? You have to spend your time selling the cards, but you get more money. And so if you have the time, which you probably do, because let's be honest, we're all playing games on our phones and watching Netflix and whatever. You can still watch Netflix just at the same time, pack up some singles, ship them out. It's incredible. It's excellent. So time commitment for backpack sellers, very easy. getting inventory. This one's a little interesting because when you think about getting inventory from the local game store side, you think like, oh, it's so easy. They just hop on the phone with distribution and they get whatever they want, right? And hopefully you're laughing because there's a lot of people that think that, but it's just not the reality, right? If you're a local game store and you're trying to get the good stuff, especially like right now, it's just hard. It is hard to be a local game store and get the supplies that you need for your customers through distribution. I know quite a few YouTubers who own local game stores that talk about how they buy stuff off a TCG player so that they can put it on the shelves at their stores, because there's a lot of Pokemon products as well as Magic products that just are not readily available at distribution. I mean, with Magic, out of the past, like 12 sets that have come out, there's only like 3, maybe 4 of them that are available at distribution. Most stuff is sold out. And so if you sell out of your Edge of Eternity's play boxes or your, Final Fantasy play boxes or whatever, you have to get clever on how you source that. And so I kind of got into the game store side of things first. Let's talk about the backpack sellers. Where do backpack sellers get their inventory? Well, it can be tricky, but I'm a big fan of what's funny is like backpack sellers can't exist without the local game stores in many ways, right? Like this isn't talking about how backpack sellers should replace game stores. I don't think that at all, because in my opinion, game stores are one of the best places for backpack sellers to get products, like through Patreon programs. Some of these big YouTubers that own local game stores, they also have Patreon type programs where you can subscribe to them monthly and get access to distribution pricing on things. And for Magic, that can be particularly good because like I was watching a Bronze God video where he's getting loads of Foundations Jumpstart booster boxes, opening those up for singles to sell out of his basement or whatever. Love Bronze God, by the way. Look up his channel. He talks about Pokemon a bit, but he also talks about Magic, so it's cool because boo Pokemon. So game stores can be a great source of product. And if you have a local game store too, and I know some game stores do this, like Dex and Dice was talking about how they do this in their local community, is like talk to your local game store, ask them like, hey, if I forked over $20 a month, would you order stuff from distribution for me? It's like some places are super down to do that. And it can be a business avenue because in theory, it shouldn't be any extra money from them, especially if they don't have to ship it. The game store, they're getting their numbers up with allocation. You're paying for stuff, right? And so it's like not a big deal for them. They're not losing any money. And then you get stuff at distribution pricing, which can be really cool. And now obviously don't go to your local game store and be like, hi, I want all the best products at distribution pricing, please. It's like, no, what they're going to be able to offer you more than likely are the products that aren't selling the best, that are readily available at distribution, not the products that are very scarce and rare. So anyways, it's not just like free tendies or anything, but it can be an opportunity to get inventory. Besides that, how do backpack sellers get inventory? Well, you buy collections. You go on Facebook Marketplace and you look at people selling their collections and you realize, wow, there's not a lot of people selling their collections for a good price, but you offer people 70% and some of them are going to say yes. I've been blessed. I've been blessed with the number of people I've offered, like, hey, would you take 70% market or 75% market? And people are like, yeah. People are like, please. I would love to liquidate my collection. And I've been able to provide that service to a number of people. And it's a win-win. And then I get a bunch of singles that I can then go ahead and sell on TCG Player for 100% market. And then I net after shipping and fees, like 85%. So if I bought for 70% and I'm netting 85%, then I'm able to pocket like 15%, right? So if I spend $1,000 on a collection, well, if I buy $1,000 collection, then I'm able to like pocket $150 after shipping and fees and stuff like that. So it's good. It's good. It's work. It takes effort to go onto Facebook Marketplace and reach out to people and do all that stuff. But it takes work to open a game store. And so anyways, yeah, sourcing is hard. Sourcing is hard no matter who you are. But it's my opinion that so much of the stuff is just obviously so much easier for backpack sellers that, yeah, I don't know. There's no complaining. It's not like, oh, stores have it so easy. They have allocations and distribution. It's like, no. Anyway, okay. So last thing I want to talk about is selling. So game stores obviously have local audiences. Who do backpack sellers have? Well, you have the internet, which is everybody. It is so easy to sell stuff on TCG Player. And in fact, it's so easy that a lot of people make their lives a little harder so they can make even more money by selling on eBay, right? Where on eBay, you can often sell above market price for cards. And if you have enough inventory, people buy from your shop and you can make above market margins. And TCG Player, like the way Rob at RNG Games describes it, is like TCG Player is like wholesale. It's just like selling in bulk. You can sell stuff quickly, but you're going to not get as much money from it. Where eBay, it's like having a real storefront where you're able to sell at a reasonable markup and make some good money. And so there's just so much liquidity. It is just so easy to sell trading cards, magic cards, playable magic cards online. You just have to have a decent price or a decent inventory. If you have both, then you can have a higher price. You know, the more cards you have in your inventory, in theory, the higher prices you can charge, because people will want to bundle cards together. And now if you only have, 100 cards in your inventory, if you want those to sell, you're basically going to have to sell at TCG low, which there can still be margins. Like I made a lot of money selling at TCG low. For most of last year, most of 2025 was me selling TCG low, buying commander deck sets that had positive margins using a tool. I mean, toploaded.io didn't exist back then, but using a tool similar to that I had coded actually. Now I use toploaded.io. It makes it easier, but not a sponsor, but to look up commander deck prices and see what's a good deal, what I can buy, pull the singles out of Flip Online. And then selling those at TCG low, because there's such good margins with the commander decks and the singles in there, as well as the collector sample pack, which I know the current commander decks don't have the collector sample packs, but still just interesting. Yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity, even selling at TCG low. So that's all. Longer than I thought this video would be, but the point is that there's so much opportunity that you don't have to have a game store for. Now, there's other opportunity, like I can't lecture you about the joys about owning a game store, but I know they exist. But I can lecture you about the joys of just selling out of your basement, and it's wonderful. I think it's a really cool thing. I think it opens up a lot of opportunities. I think it's fun. And just the flexibility, how you can turn it on and off. It's like if I go on a vacation, I can just turn off my inventory and then go on vacation. And that is so wonderful. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.